What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. So today we're going to be using one of the new characters that I actually pulled relatively recently, being Christmas Uta. So we already made a dedicated video for this character for Pirate Rumble, but I actually haven't gone ahead and used her in normal content. Now, I do know that in Rumble she is very, very good, and I would go as far as to say that she is probably a meta character. However, these characters that come out that are very good for Rumble doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be good for normal content either. So today I want to go ahead and try and explore that and see if this character is going to be an active character that can be used in more content moving forward. Now, I guess a little bit of a spoiler about that, I don't think this character is going to see a ton of play, but she does have some interesting abilities which may see her, being used every now and again for some niche circumstances. So let's go ahead and break down exactly what this character is providing for your team. So first of all, she is a strength cerebral shooter, so pretty interesting class and type combination there. The captain ability does give -1 turn of cooldown, which most characters do these days, so that's not much of a surprise, but also reduces your crew's switch effect gauge by 5 at the start of the quest, which is also a pretty unique effect as to why this might see some play in the future. So having that ability to just give -5 to your switch gauge is very strong, so just not having to worry about your super switch as often is very good. However, I don't know what kind of characters are going to be actively used under this character, but hey, it's a really cool ability and is a point of difference as to why you would use her as a captain, just for ease of use and just making things a bit more efficient when you're running through content. In terms of what she boosts a lot of different units. She boosts strength, quick, cerebral, and shooter characters, all receiving buffs via that captain ability. It is only a 5 times boost, you get 1.35 times HP, and you get the ability to change any size slot that's given to you into a rainbow slot. So that's another very interesting point of difference that this character has compared to other units. So anytime you generate a size slot, it is just automatically a rainbow slot instead. Remember that rainbow slots cannot be changed by the enemy's abilities or by your own effects, so being able to use this to preemptively get around enemy orb change is a really cool effect that she has. So it's really neat that she has that ability to do that. So being able to use characters that can change your slots into Sai, like 10th anniversary Shanks for example, is a really good way to synergize with this Uta. She does get a higher attack boost the more perfects you hit. So if you land 3 consecutive perfects, you get 5.5 times attack. If you land 5 consecutive perfects, then that final character in your team gets a 6 times attack bonus. She also has a utility effect. She removes 10 turns of burn as a captain, which is neat that she has it, but let's be real, removing 10 turns of burn is nowhere near as valuable as removing bind, despair, special reverse, special bind, any of those other key abilities, paralysis even. So removing burn is, I would say, almost a redundant ability. It does come up here and there, but most of the time it's not that big of an issue. She also has another additional effect where if she taps with a rainbow slot, then she gives -10% resistance down for strength, dex, and quick characters on your team. And also, if a cerebral or a shooter crewmate uses a special ability, then it will buff the final tap of the next cerebral or shooter by 20%, and that can be used up to 6 times per quest. So it's an interesting ability there, but again, I don't think that's the main reason you would go out of your way to use her. So I guess the main key takeaways is being able to change size slots into rainbow, very good ability. She does have burn removal, and the rest is fine. I mean, and the special reverse, the special cooldown for the super switch gauge. Those are the key points that you should take away from Uta. So if you do have to use dual units, potentially this is a good character to do that. If you're going to deal with a lot of content with burn, she can help you deal with that. So, she's got some interesting abilities for sure, but it's nowhere near as powerful as some of the other characters that we have in the game thus far. So if you do opt to use her as a captain, you'll of course gain access to her super type ability. The super type does not require any one specific character to be on the crew, which is a nice change of pace. It does make team building much easier. The only thing you need to keep in mind is you need to have a chain addition or a chain multiplicative boost. If you can fulfill that, you will gain access to her super type. You can even just use a random support of a character, use the special, trigger the support, get a chain boost, boom, you get the super type ability. The super type ability removes silence duration by 5 turns. Remember, silence duration is that debuff where a character cannot perform any action. You can't swipe up to perform a special, you can't swipe down to use like a super type or a switch ability or anything like that. So having a character that can remove that is good, but of course if she herself is inflicted with the silence, then you can't get rid of it. So that can be a downside there. She also changes her own slot into Rainbow. It does not go through block slots, so keep that in mind. It will also lock cruise slots for 2 turns. That ability is very strong. 2-turn all block is quite insane, honestly, for just in terms of what it is providing. Being able to keep really crazy Rainbow slots for multiple turns, multiple stages is incredibly good. Getting around enemy preemptives, or if an enemy has a revive, just being able to keep those slots for multiple turns is just very, very good. It will then also change the attack multiplier of strength and rainbow slots to 2.75 for 3 turns, ultimately making the rainbow and strength slots that can be generated become better than Wano slots. Just giving you more damage makes a lot of sense, and then strength becomes super strength. So not really anything too crazy going on with her super type, but some interesting abilities nonetheless. But now let's go ahead and get into her special. Now there's a lot going on with her special ability, so let's go ahead and break this one down. First of which, a very unique ability that we saw come out late last year with Katakuri and Big Mom, being able to perform a super tandem with a different type of slot. So we saw Katakuri Big Mom be able to perform super tandems with similar slots. This character also has that ability, but it's for strength and rainbow. So when you use her special ability for 3 turns, strength and rainbow slots are basically treated as tandem slots, being able to generate those super tandem abilities, which is very, very good. She also heals 20,000 HP, just a flat ability, nothing too crazy there. She also changes all of your crew slots, including block slots, into rainbow. So that's very powerful and great synergy with her super type ability, being able to generate a full board of rainbow and then lock them for multiple turns, incredibly powerful. And then being able to then perform super tandem with those rainbow slots, again, very, very good. It then also says that if you perform 4 perfect strikes in a row during this turn, then Strength, Quick, Cerebral, and Shooter characters receive a 2x attack boost for landing a successful strike during that turn. So this is very similar to what we saw with the Halloween Uta, providing like a secondary type of attack buff that can stack with other characters. So it's a very cool effect that she has that. So it is good that she has, you know, a bit of orb changing. She also has healing, and then also an offensive capability effect that can stack with other abilities. Just overall, just really good so far. But then there's this other ability where it is a utility piece. It is centered around having your captain be either cerebral or shooter, so you need to fulfill that requirement. If you do, you get 6-turn debuff removal of recovery into damage debuff, as well as the attack down chain effect. And that attack down chain debuff is very common, at least in more modern content. Being able to remove the recovery into damage debuff isn't super common, honestly, so that's kind of a redundant ability. You're not really going to be using it for that specific circumstance, but being able to get around chain attack down, it's a very useful ability. And when this character did come out, she was used specifically, I think, for one of the treasure map bosses that came out at the time, specifically because of that ability. So, you know, chain attack down is relatively common, so being able to get around that is quite good. Furthermore, she does also have a chain related buff as well, where it says that if you have a chain lock activated when you launch her special, it's going to buff it by 0.5. And then if you don't have a chain buff, then she's going to give you a 3.0 chain boundary for 1 turn. So overall, she's got a lot going on, right? She's got the ability to change your super tandem requirements for strength and rainbow slots. You get a heal, you get a damage debuff, full board of rainbow slots, you get a little bit of utility if you have a cerebral or shooter captain, and you get a chain boundary, or you buff whatever chain effect you have already on your team. So a lot going on with Uta, a lot of really powerful abilities in that special. So it just really comes down to like, how often do you think that this character is actually going to see play? Honestly, it's not a bad unit overall. If you have ways to abuse super tandem with this character in mind for your team, that this could be quite good. If there are other really powerful super tandems, you could potentially use it with this. Though you got to remember that, you know, she's a strength, she's a cerebral shooter. I don't know how many good super tandems are really going to come to mind straight away to abuse with this Uta. But if you have other powerful characters that could synergize with this Uta, it's going to be pretty strong moving forward. Just being able to abuse the fact that she can generate these rainbow slots, she can enhance the multiplier of those slots, and then just give you more damage via abusing the rainbow slots and the fact that they cannot be abused and changed by the enemies, and the orb block for for multiple turns. It just all works very, very well. Now, speaking of all of that, she actually does have super tandem herself, but it's unfortunate that it's really just not a good super tandem. So in order to perform it, you need to tap with 3 or more cerebral characters that are on the crew, not including herself. So you have to tap with like basically 3 other units plus Uta, so it's like 4 characters. It's a lot to activate a super tandem ability. And for the amount of work that you put into this super tandem, the payoff just isn't there, where it will give you a 3-turn defense up removal and a 2x attack boost to strength, quick, cerebral, and shooter. So not a great super tandem, which is why I'm saying if you're going to be using a character such as this, you pretty much want to have a really high tier level super tandem instead. But overall, I'm a really big fan of the design of this unit. It's just I don't think this is going to be a character that's going to see a ton of play in normal content. But hey, at least this is actually a lot more usable, in my opinion, compared to the Halloween Uta that we got, you know, a little bit before this Uta came out. The Christmas Uta is by far and away better compared to the Halloween one that came out. Definitely in Rumble and in normal content, I can see this character seeing some niche usages here and there. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about this one down below in the comment section. I think this is a really fun character and would love to see more themed units like this appear in the future. Hopefully you enjoyed it though. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.